To be honest with you, one of the early lessons is I got really tied to success and the outcome, and I forgot to enjoy the process.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and Warrior Injury Law. My name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington. So, Joe, before we introduce our live, real, in-studio guests, can you tell everyone how our podcast started?
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page where the purpose was to bring business owners together to kind of just communicate and brainstorm and help each other out. Because we're a marketing agency, we get asked a lot of questions outside of regular just marketing as far as what people should do within their business. So we were approached to start a podcast. So we started the podcast, and the goal was to bring on different guest speakers to talk about all topics relevant to business.
I know we said this off camera, but how long has it been since we started our podcast?
October was 5 years.
Okay, so 5 years and 200 plus episodes in, right?
210 or so, yeah.
All right. So this year we've been really intentional trying to have in-studio guests, and we're really excited about today's guest, David, with Limitless Minds. David, can you please give our guests an introduction, please?
Pleasure. Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me. David with Limitless Minds, the COO, mental fitness and performance company built to train and develop mindsets in the corporate athlete and bridge what is historically for performance and elite athletes and bring it into the corporate domain and elevate both performance and consciousness and, great leadership. So
what's a corporate athlete?
Corporate athlete is what we define as basically anybody from any role in the organization, but mostly leaders within organizations. And but any individual has the capacity to be their best self and perform at their most elite level, and our job is to help activate that from a mindset perspective. So
can you, for our listeners, and could you just give a little backstory about like who you are, how you got started? Like I started here, I graduated from college, or maybe you didn't, and then fast forward to where you're at now.
Yeah, so I'm a Carolina Tar Heel, so go Heels. Graduated a few years ago. I'm now a seasoned, ripe 50 years old, which I'm excited about actually. But started in domain, was a finance, economics background. And didn't know what I wanted to do. Just knew that I loved numbers. I was good with it. But I also knew that I really wanted to be inspired to build and grow businesses. I was always an entrepreneurial spirit, but I didn't know what I was gonna do or who I was gonna do it for. Launched my career, started out in finance, again, bridged into technology, started early, quickly figuring out that I'm really good at helping teams like perform and leaders to get unlocked in terms of their potential. And so as I grew in my career and I helped build companies, I recognized my secret power was understanding complex challenges facing clients and how to unpack those and help them move the needle forward. And then more importantly, unlock the leadership talents of people. And I say leadership, but I use that broadly. It's really about how do you actually show up and be the best version of yourself. So I got really quickly, I recognized that passion, and I kind of fell into a role of COO, my first COO position, and was able to see an exit there. And then that kind of propelled, I became basically a hired gun, helping run and scale companies that are stuck or in a moment of crisis or in a moment of transformation. And I found that that's my real niche, is to help unlock that and grow companies. And so hence, fast forward, Limitless Minds about 6 years ago, very early in our iteration, heard a podcast from Trevor, podcast webinar. This was right in 2020. So this is actually timely when you guys started. And he did a webinar, and I had heard him speak. And Trevor Moawad is, if you don't know who he is the world's best brain trainer. God bless him for passing way too early on this earth. But he was phenomenal, and he spoke truth. He spoke direct. He spoke no noise, no nonsense. And I really appreciated the message. I reached out to Harry and DJ, who are co-founders. I'm a huge Seahawks fan. Obviously, Russell was part of this ecosystem. But I just was excited. I wanted to bring this to my client because I had a pretty sizable consulting business that I wanted to bring this message to all of our clients. And so long story short, fell in love with what what it was, but also what they were building. And they were very early, and they said, David, can you come on and be an advisor and help us grow this company? And that was 6 years ago. And I said, I'll do it. It was a passion project. Couldn't afford to really pay me much. And that wasn't my mission. It was to make a real impact in the world. And this company has been a flywheel of impact, and the learning, the challenge of scaling it, the people I've gotten to interact with, the impacts we're making. It's been transformational. So I'm still involved because it's fun.
So literally it was, you messaged them directly.
Randomly. Cold.
And you didn't get recruited or anything. It was a cold
message. Cold. And it was just, I need to know more about your business. It wasn't a sales pitch. I didn't need anything. I just wanted to learn more about how they brought this to the masses, and I wanted to bring it to my clients. And so I was just curious. And so that curiosity just kind of led to, hey, tell us more. And they realized my background was a really good fit. So
that's pretty cool.
Hence I kind of stumbled into becoming the COO here, and I still do it because it's so fun.
Yeah. What size? Talk to us about the clients that you guys work with. Is it like a small mom and pop? Is it giant corporations? Is it everything in between?
It's everything in between, but we found our sweet spot. We had a core kind of niche inside of big pharma, big, and I just say pharma in its essence, because both Harry Wilson, who's Russell's older brother, DJ Eitzen, who's a dear friend, had both built their pedigree and learning in pharma as sailors, as executives, as leaders in those teams. And so it was an easy transition for them to bridge the corporate athlete and some of these messages in that domain. And what I love about pharma is that it's a great niche market, and because there's a high premium on how much they invest in their people. But what we found was the disconnect was there's a high premium on how much they're investing, but that was all in capabilities and skills and tactics and knowledge in the space of pharma.
Right.
Nothing around mindset. No one had really built a methodology that could scale around mindset. And so we've really become really well intersected in that. And then from there, we branched out tech. We've worked with Amazon, Microsoft. We've worked with a lot of spread, but it still is very clear that it's really a company's appetite to invest in their people is more important than the industry they're in. So again, size is irrelevant. If you're willing to make the investment, and we can find ways to do that across our digital platform, et cetera, there's ways we can impact, then great. But I'm finding, unfortunately, most companies just decide to spend their dollars in other ways, and they're not for us.
Well, hopefully we'll uncover that a little bit with our core audience of small business owners, entrepreneurs. But before we do that, since it's our day drinking episode, and when we're filming this, it's the week of Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be making a fig old fashioned, but we ask our guests a couple questions. So Joe, do you want to start with our first question?
Before we go any further, this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast is brought to you by Warrior Injury Law.
Injured? Call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
What are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
It's freaking hard. It is.
We talked about that, me and Mark, off camera, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hard. And I'd say it's lonely. I'd say hard and loneliness are one and the same. It's easy for people to see when you've had success, or you've gotten to a certain amount of scale, or you've grown past kind of that early from ideation to launch. And they're like, oh, who's that? What people don't see is the risk that you're taking, the time commitment, the amount of things that go unpaid and unreturned in terms of time. So you try a lot of things, how many times you have to fail and have a lot of resilience to bounce back, and also not get, to be honest with you, one of the early lessons is I got really tied to success and the outcome, and I forgot to enjoy the process. And so I'd say, I think what I would the biggest lesson now as I look back and reflect and advise other companies, and as we support through the mindset side of Limitless Minds, it's you've got to focus on your process, your habits, your people, your clients, and don't get caught up in some of the, like, you must do this, you need to spend money on this. Well, where's your AI strategy? Well, how much you spending on marketing? Well, are you ready to market? You have to be in a place where you're ready to receive those things versus just do all these things. So many mistakes in that area, but learning's it's freaking hard, and there's a reason why only still I think 1 in 10 on average make it.
And it's what you have to make it past. What would it say? The first 3 years are the hardest, and if you can make it over like that hump of 5, then you're probably going to stay in business.
5, but we've had many examples of major companies that flop and they're gone.
Yeah,
Right.
Blockbuster, or Enron, or but you can get to a certain scale, doesn't mean you're going to succeed. And I think innovation has to continue, and you have to always, I think, not be tied so much and be so tied on what you built it to get there, and be more about what do the people in the market you're serving really need. And I think, but making it through there, I mean, it's remarkable what we've navigated. Just really quick side note on Limitless Minds. I don't know how many founders and companies have navigated the death of a founder, and I don't even know what the success rate is after that.
right.
Fairly early in your career company life too, right?
Very early.
Yeah.
We're going on 3.5 years, 4 years. We were only about not even halfway in, and still very early. And this is right when COVID was coming too. So there's a lot of things coming, but just navigating things like that, you can't plan for that.
So I'm going to ask the question then to the audience, and how do you overcome that? So like if your CEO passes away, he has all the keys to the kingdom. Were the keys to the kingdom passed on to other people before he had passed away, so that way people had access to things? Or did you have to like do what most people do and just struggle through to find everything to almost rebuild it?
Yeah, I think it's a yes and on that. I think it's a combination of things. First of all, he wasn't just a founder. He was a dear friend he was Russell's best friend. Let's not understate how important that was. He was a key asset in Russell's career early here in Seattle, and
huge.
He was the primary driver I think the competitive asset that Russell was able to turn into the greatness he's created.
Yeah.
So I think that's unique in and of itself. But I think what you have to do. I think there's a couple of things. One was he wasn't the CEO, but he was obviously our key product.
Yeah.
Trevor's brand was what we built the foundation of Limitless around,
right?
And his IP, and we did that together. But I would say the learning is not the passing or like the shift in that, and how do you sustain something like that? How do you navigate something like that? It's making sure you stay true to the purpose and the why and the mission, regardless of human. Yeah. Because it's never about one person. And if your identity is built around an individual or a celebrity or a one trick pony, if you want to call it that, right. You're only as good as that person's last day. And I think that it's important to recognize what I recognize and why I'm still here is the mission was always greater than the individuals. And so we were able to lean into the mission when shit gets hard.
Yeah. Because you had your team already in place too. I mean, there were other people on the team that you guys, even before you got on, had built around how we met, like Travis.
Yeah. There were some core people that helped pass the baton, but I would say Trevor's legacy lives on because of the human he was, but also the value and the impact he imprinted on the rest of our core team. And I'd say, like, to your point, Travis, shout out to Travis, TT. What's up, TT? He's been here from the very beginning. Colin Henderson's another local who, by the way, you should get to know if you haven't yet. Seahen's a powerhouse. He's on our team. Josh Lifrak. He was able to kind of infiltrate those values and share his wisdom, and they've embodied it. And I think that's what's carried the torch on our quote unquote product. And that's how we allowed us to build.
Okay. Nice.
I'll ask the next one. So what's the best piece of advice that you've been given? Could be personal, could be professional.
You do you.
Love it.
You do you. To get just a little bit more color to that, I spent the first part of my career trying to build and be and solve and support everybody else, and that's why I'm a good operator and a good entrepreneur and a good innovator around that. But along the way, I think if you don't hold authentic to who you are and you're not comfortable being who you are in every space, regardless of outcome, or I think it's had an imprint on me. I didn't understand it because I heard it early on from a dear mentor of mine, but I didn't start to really understand it consciously till I got my mid-40s. I made a lot of mistakes.
But you
I had some
discovered it,
successes,
though.
had plenty of failures, but I started remembering along the way, even in success, you can lose yourself. And I think that is the travesty that in and of itself. But, oh, wow, what do we got? Look at this.
All right. Before we ask the last question, off camera, Mark.
Stop.
Wow. Epic.
So what we have here is since it's seasonal, the time of the year, a fig old fashioned. So we have Green River wheated bourbon, just won a bourbon of the year for an affordable bottle. Homemade fig syrup, some bitters, put a Luxardo cherry, squeeze of orange peel, the oils are expressed over the drink. And then these two are candied figs. So the figs I use to make the syrup, pull them out. Now they're kind of sugared, so you could eat these for a fig old fashioned. So let's get figgy with it. Cheers before we ask our last question. Again, thank you, David, for joining us. Enjoying the cocktail, but cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, real quick, pause 1 sec. Let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors. All right, hold on. I'll do it. Okay, so shout out to one of our sponsors, A Advanced Services. They deal with septic, drain fields, drain cleaning, electrical, and construction. Committed to providing outstanding customer experiences. They ensure top quality services customized to your needs. As a family-owned business, they take pride in delivering reliable and personalized septic solutions you can trust. That's straight from their website. Your trusted septic partner since 2006. Okay, carry on with the episode and action.
Cheers. All right, last question we asked.
I'm going to do a two-part. Why is marketing important? And what has been the best marketing avenue for your company?
Marketing in its core, I think if it's done right, it's really personalized. It's tied to the audience. It's tied to who you're serving. Most importantly, it's educational with a call to action where it makes sense. It's not always about getting qualified leads. And that's all part of the outcome. But again, focus on the process. I think but an extension of the brand. So again, if you're going back to what I said earlier, if you're not doing you,
right,
and you're not living into your brand of who you are, then there's no way you can have a qualified, capable extension of that brand through marketing channels if you don't have true alignment there and true synergy with a partner. I've always had in our career, we've always outsourced our marketing, needs, whether it's early stage for, from an agency perspective, getting website and just kind of the basics as things have shifted, that's evolved, but always believed in subject matter expertise outside, especially, up until I'd say, depending on the kind of company, B or C, startup, B or C round funded startups, where then maybe it makes sense to bring in a CMO. Or if your business is more of a marketing brand, then there's another story to be had there. But to answer your question, I think it's knowing who you are, knowing your audience, personalization, education, and awareness and community building than it is. And that in itself should drive qualified inbound activity. But more importantly, what are you doing externally to make sure that's integrated?
Right.
So I think I hope that answered your question as far as I've always believed in that use of marketing and what it stands for. What was your second part of your question?
What type of marketing has worked the best?
Organic, personalized. I have found especially for us, it's less about pay per click and all the other SEO optimization. And again, every business is unique. I guess I'll just say for the one I'm currently involved with, Limitless.
Right.
It's our own voices of our coaches, of our community, and of our clients activating the awareness, and then we're just accentuating it with content.
How much video content do you guys put out? Because how many? First of all, how many coaches do you guys
We have about a couple of dozen on our roster now.
Okay.
We our goal was not to have a bunch of coaches. It was
Right.
to have elite in their domain,
Yeah.
diverse expertise across not just sports, but like
Yeah.
all domains, and carry
Right.
that in and of its realm of mindset and performance. And so we have now, I'd say, a couple dozen that get run with us that are part of our ecosystem. We have our core OGs, and those Travis you've met, Colin's the other one, Josh is another one you should meet, and then we have Monica Livingston and Krista Ryan and Hannah Pryor, and we've extended, and I think there's a core of, I'd say, 12 or so that we use on the regular, and that they're very actively involved in our business. So that said, their brands, when they post, when they validate, when they shine highlights on our clients and our experiences, when they share the impact versus like, hey, look at us. It's always been about our clients and our coaches being the center of the story versus about, hey, look what Limitless Minds, is here to do, because we're really here to impact the world in a big scale.
So how much do you reach virtual to in-person then when people attend a webinar, a conference, or engage with you online? What does that look like? I guess it'd be two ways. New people, new businesses, new individuals discovering you, to when someone works with you, is it, all right, to jump on our monthly webinar, or is it an in-person conference? What does that look like? A
lot of it still comes from, we get a lot of inbound leads, but they come in. What's interesting, because we work with Fortune 500, from the Fortune 100 in a lot of cases, they are inquiries that come in inbound through our channel, but they hear about us, they know about us because we've already done work in another division in their company, and so it's awareness of. But then they're like, "Hey, I heard about you guys." Then the congruency of our website, the click-through attributes, how we show up, then that becomes important,
right? And
then we get the pull-through lead that way. I would say percentage-wise, right now, our conversions are really good anytime we get just an initial conversation, because it's really hard to argue the concept that is mindset important. Well, yes. What have you put in place to train for mindset in your company? Not much.
Yeah.
And I think that becomes a really easy entry point where, well, it's never a no. If it's a no, it's really because it's just the wrong time, or they don't have budget, and we kind of disqualify them out versus the other way around. Our perfect world is, for those types, we let them have access to our digital platform. There's more cost-effective ways to engage us digitally and in our community versus than just in the in-person and live. But conversions are great, but inbounds are, I would say, more, I think, because of our surround sound kind of community engagement, which goes beyond us pummeling dollars into the system, trying to get cold, raw leads. And building it organically from bottoms up to this point has been really valuable. I do think we're getting to that tipping point where, for us to think broader and globally, that now doing more around the work you guys do and kind of having that support could be valuable in terms of now the optimizations versus the let's start from scratch.
What has been, or what is one key thing that most leaders, when they fail, what's one thing they usually all have in common of how they're failing?
Well, I guess the question's precipitated on that failure is a bad thing.
I mean, I don't think failure is a good thing, right? If you're not, if you're not failing, you're not learning. If you're not learning, you're not growing.
Right.
But it's just like usually like most leaders, they fail. They're all failing at something, and it's usually one thing. If they could tweak that one thing, what is one piece of advice you give to leaders to maybe go from good to great?
Yeah, that's a great question. Man, that's a great question. From all my years of experience, the thing that really stands out is when people get into the pattern of trying to do versus be.
Right.
And I think most people, I think it's natural for all of us, but as you grow in your level of responsibility, you minimize or you devalue the things that got you there. And I guess I don't, the thing, so I would say the human one-to-one conversations, the over communication, the partnering with the people you work with, the
Right.
coaching them in their careers, the delegating and allowing them to take on risk versus you controlling it and managing it. I think what happens is the farther up you move, the least visible you want to fail.
Mhm.
And so, and you fail could be failing, meaning the company could fail
Right.
if you're at an executive level.
But that
And-
failure is someone below you saying, well, he was vulnerable enough to fail in front of us. Now I could be vulnerable enough to fail in the people below me. And it's a teaching moment.
So it's an absolutely teachable moment. And in that process, though, I think people forget and lose their way and stop doing the work, and growing and learning new ways to lead in this new genre we're in, and they get stale because they think because they used to do it well, and they keep doing the same thing, and they forget that everyone always has to be evolving. So I think there's this level of forgetting a little bit of the basics and thinking that there's automation and systems that can do it all for you.
Right.
Nothing replaces this in-person human
Hence
connection.
now the seduction of AI, right?
And I mean, to add some bourbon into the mix with an amazing bartender over there.
Cheers.
Like, cheers to that. But yeah, I think it's just remembering who you are, and also not forgetting where you came from, and knowing how to layer each one of those habits that built your success on top of each other. Don't displace one for another.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's capacity to grow. You just have to be able to have the capacity to do it.
Marketing matters. Growth matters more. This episode is powered by our sponsor, Fuse Networks.
78% of ransomware demands start right here in the office. How are you protecting your business internally and externally against cybercrime? Call Fuse Networks, your local Seattle IT experts at 206-701-6040 for a complimentary vulnerability assessment to see where your business risks are and help your company fight cybercrime.
So let me ask one thing for our audience. So a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, who mindset is something they read, right? I mean, they've probably watched a YouTube video, watched a podcast, but for like the everyday entrepreneur, small business owner that doesn't have a budget to invest in mental performance or skills, or even just to stop and do it, can you give one, I guess, elevator pitch going up the Columbia Tower, maybe even 60-second pitch on why small business owners, the everyday entrepreneur, should have this as a focus, especially when this releases, it'll be closer to probably 2026, and people want to always improve. What could you say to those businesses that don't have a corporate team, but they're the plumber with 3 guys, or the roofer with I have 3 crews, but I want to scale to 6 crews eventually, or those kind of businesses?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, I'd say it all comes back to that desire to stay curious and never stop learning. And I at every level, you can go out and search YouTube. You can follow any sort of channel. You can follow Valor. You can follow communities that provide this content for free.
Yeah.
You decide what you consume. I think the everyday human, there's some basic habit, everyday entrepreneur and human, but I think we all share in this. You can't reprioritize and discount yourself in the process of building what you're trying to build. You have to embody both of them together, and you have to integrate them both together. So your continuous journey of learning, and how do I show up as the best person how do I show up best for my team? How do I show up and build a culture that allows this to scale? Scaling only happens because you do the right things right, and you do them consistently over and over again.
Right.
You can't stop doing those things. So every habit is habit stacking. If you read Atomic Habits, you guys, I'm sure you know very well, you build on those things. You got to start with the basics, and you got to build on that. So whether it's build gratitude into your daily workflow, make sure that there's gratitude, appreciation every day for how you show up. In every meeting, take 5 minutes before every meeting, and remember the human. Have human conversations. Talk about life, and don't talk about just work. Don't get caught up in the KPIs and what the world needs of you.
Right.
Get caught up in how are we doing and how are we showing up as individuals for ourselves. But I think there are so many tools out there, and from $5 a month to $30,000 to have a speaker come in and spend time with your team, they're all timing. There's always a range in which you can do it. And if you're creative and innovative, I find that entrepreneurs, why I love them so much, is that always finding innovative ways to do amazing things with nothing.
Right.
So actually having nothing and no money in the bank and not sure if you're going to make it next week is a heck of a lot more energizing, and you get really creative on how to lead through adversity, much more than a Harvard Law School book can teach you, or sorry, Harvard Business School could teach you, or even us, and we give you a framework. You still have to apply it.
Right.
So I just say that
That's the resourcefulness of the
resourcefulness,
entrepreneur.
staying curious, stay hungry for yourself. Know that the company, especially in the early stages, is a mirror of you or your team or your leadership team, which means if you're not all working on you or doing the work, it's going to work on you, and that could be good or bad. So I just say baby steps, resources are there, build some basic habits into your workflow, and then you add to it. Don't try to like overhaul and say pay $30,000 to have somebody come in and speak. That might not be what your team needs.
Right.
They might just need you to share a book and have a book club summary in your next team meeting that lets you guys do some workshop around it, and you learn a few things and you apply it. So I think it's continuous learning, continuous innovation, I think is the art form.
Is that recommended? So some of our customers of ours or businesses that are watching this now, who gets involved in like those kind of discussions? Is it just like managers? Is it everyone? The amount of stakeholders you have for a smaller company, let's just say smaller than 20 people.
Yeah.
How much do you include every layer? Is it down to everyone who walks through the door that works there, or just, do you delegate certain things for your core leaders compared to, your other workers?
It's interesting. Here's what I would say. Cultures and like high performance teams are built from the bottom up, but lived top down. Congruence has to be throughout the organization. And I love the smaller companies. I love sub 500 companies because there is zero excuse for, as an executive, that you don't have a personal relationship with every single individual on that team,
right?
And know what makes them, drives them, and know what their skill sets are. Like, that's your job. And I think the biggest failure most executives have, or startup founders, is once they get their first layer of capital, or they get their first tranche of new hires, they just keep focusing on themselves, and they forget, like, you have to know each human. So you should be walking the floors virtually or in person with every single one of your people. And I think that scales. I know companies who've done that successfully up to 1,000 people. And I mean, even I always remembered one of the John Chambers, when he was running Cisco Systems, when they were in their highest point, he would still walk the floors of the manufacturing plants and the chip plants and the production lines as part of his daily commitment. And I just think it's important to never stop doing that. So to answer your question, long story short, is to keep it short, I think you got to include everybody, and you can do things like have mindset minutes. What's your mindset win for the month? And you can do it if your culture is clear about what you're measuring or what you care about. You can include every single person on that, and I guarantee you, the best ideas never come from the boardroom. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Right.
They always come from the people that they let in, and I think that companies do themselves a disservice by closing up too soon and thinking they need to have all the answers. The answers are in their collective universe if they just look at for.
When you include everyone, I think it makes everyone feel important. Everyone's a part of the mission for that company. But if it's if they don't know who you are as a person, they don't have the same passion as you do, so they're not going to invest that time.
In.
Yeah.
I'm checking in at 8. I'm checking out at 5, and once I leave, I'm on my own. But when you have that stakeholder mentality, it's like you're going home thinking, how can I make this company better tomorrow? It's an extension, right?
It's interesting. It makes me think of a quote. And again, shout out to Colin Henderson. What's up, Sehan? Can't wait to see you on Saturday. But he talks about this in a lot of our client experiences. He brings up a quote from Mary Kay, which I think I know you guys know Mary Kay. But he talks about people get behind what they help build, and that's a quote. And I think from Mary Kay from the very beginning. Obviously, that's a different business model, but totally resonant.
Yeah.
And if you're not helping build what you're part of, then you're actually not actually building something sustainable or scalable, in my opinion.
Right.
And so I think shout out to Mary Kay and just shout out to Colin, but like I think it's resonant to what you're saying is everyone should have a voice.
Right.
I think the hard part is just because everyone has a voice doesn't mean you make it that every voice gets to be put into action.
Right.
Right.
So there has to be a feedback loop to say, thank you for sharing your voice. This is still the direction we're going, and here's why we're going that direction.
Yeah.
But you can still lead with radical transparency,
Right.
and everyone can be behind it, even if it's why are they not doing it my way?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we heard you. It's the wrong time for that. But you have to be able to take
Right.
ideas in a funnel and keep them, because everyone's idea at some point will probably be the perfect idea
Right.
at the right time in the business. And so that's what I think our job is to curate the genius of the people around you and allow their voices to get implemented into the strategy. And I think that's what I think, I pride myself on doing the best of my ability.
Your
is that.
superpower, right?
Yeah, I try.
Last question. So what has been your greatest satisfaction so far? And when we ask this question, it's not always the biggest win. Sometimes it's, you helped this small company or individual. For you, where you're at now, what's been the greatest satisfaction?
I think the courage that I finally mustered to walk away from something and be okay with that.
Mhm.
To know that was my time to move on. And
Because that's admitting vulnerability.
It's admitting a vulnerability that, and it's feeling a sense of defeat. And I'm a very competitive person. I like to win, and winning, in my mind, always got misconstrued with what it really is. But I think for me, it was the courage to recognize how I'm feeling about a situation, or recognizing that my time had come, and then having the courageous conversation to be able to have that conversation, and still try to do it all in the right realm, because I was a key executive of a company.
Right.
And it just felt like there was a misalignment ultimately of where we were going to go and how we were going to get there. And usually I would bust through and just keep fighting because I'm so loyal. But I think that was about, 10 years ago. And that was a courageous moment. So I'm probably most fulfilled or satisfied that I was able to have the courage to do that. Because ever since I started learning how to say no, or recognizing something's not a right fit, I've been able to get further and further and further into the things that I do really, really well, and for people that I love to serve. So I think letting go, if that makes sense, the courage to let go, especially as a founder,
right,
or as I feel like a founder everywhere I go. That's who I am. So even if I didn't found the company, I treat it like it's mine.
Right.
And that was hard.
Well, cheers to that. I'll take a cheers to that. Yeah.
Cheers.
I do have a last question for you.
Yeah.
So moving into 2026, how many clients does your firm have now, and how many are you looking to grow into 2026? So if there's something maybe you could ask for our audience that would help you guys grow, what would that be?
So to answer, the short answer is we've served over 150, I'll say served, at one point or another in our journey, 150 different companies.
In 6 years.
In 6 years.
That's good.
What I think is important about that is we're not a transaction. We really value our business not on the number of clients, but on the impact and the sustained impact we're making.
It's an investment.
It's an investment. Yeah. And so what I'm probably most proud of is we still have companies that started with us, like Johnson & Johnson as an example, in 2017 is still with us. Now, as you know, like a company like Johnson & Johnson, that's 1 million micro companies,
right?
And they're massive.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of room to hunt around the organization and provide value in new layers.
Right.
But I'd say for us, it's less about logos. So I candidly don't look at that. For us, it's more about number of humans and lives we can impact. And so the question really we ask is how we get our eyeballs and our knowledge and our experience into more rooms,
right,
virtually and in person, and is the readiness of those are the companies that we're supporting, are they ready for us? And so I think the shift is we're not chasing it, we're attracting it. So
Right.
companies come to us now.
Because you almost know that they have that need,
They-
but are they ready to
Everybody
receive
has
it?
the need.
Right?
Everybody faces challenge, change, adversity, and pressure now more than ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Every single layer. The real question is, are they willing to do something about it? And so awareness is important. I would say how much awareness can we get? How many people can we get into our ecosystem and in our community, and our free newsletters, our news feeds, our AI coach, the things we have that serve a one-to-one audience. I want as many eyeballs on as possible, whether that's free or paid. I think that's the big shift for us this year. So it's hard for me to answer the question exactly the way you answered, but I'm telling you, like for us, it's less about, we want to go deeper with the clients we have and continue to expand their capabilities as leaders. And I think to me, that's a multi-year journey. So I'd rather go deeper, wider, longer with less than number of actual logos.
So do you guys have like an online subscription that a small business owner that could subscribe to that
Yep.
goes online and then accesses videos?
Yep. We
So
started that.
let's broadcast for our audience to how can they consume content? Where can they find you? What channels?
I think the number one place right now, we're working on this. This is like, again, always in progress because we're trying to find the best way to meet people where they are. But our following on LinkedIn, our business community, our followers across each individual leader within the organization and coach. If you aggregate all those up, we're in, obviously add Russell into that mix. We're we're probably close to 100 million followers.
Right.
In some capacity, but they're not all following or subscribing to our newsletter, which is free. It's easy to do. It's to click a button off LinkedIn or on our website. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we have a funnel, active access to our platform for free, which gives some additional content.
Yeah.
Is that the articles and video section on
Articles
your
and
website?
visuals section. We have a podcast. We also have a podcast that people can come listen to and consume the content. But it's clickable through the website. It's clickable through our socials. It's clickable through LinkedIn primarily as our main target community. And I'd say just follow.
Yeah.
And if you follow any one of us, or if you follow our main company page, you'll get access to the really the fundamental good things that we try to share to the world. And then we have a whole library of content, thousands and thousands of micro videos and a platform and all that, which is an easy, turn on. You can pay subscriber fee, $10 a month, less than Netflix to consume what I think are pretty compelling learnings from some of the world's best.
I got another one now. Of your upcoming coaches, who has been the one that's most requested?
Ooh.
Because you said you have like a couple
24.
dozen coaches, right? Just you have some 12 OGs, which is great. So they're always going to be asked for. But if you have a dozen or so upcoming coaches, I'm assuming a business could come in and be like, I've watched this person. I really like her personality. I want her.
You know what's really cool about it's a great question. And I'll give you the answer. But let me give you a quick sidebar. This is because this bourbon is kicking in.
Was it? Are you enjoying the cocktail? First
This
of all?
is an amazing cocktail. Can we just keep doing this?
Yeah, we
Forget
we
what we
sure
talked
can.
about.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is one of my favorites I've made. So, I mean,
It's actually one of
festive.
mine too. It's very sweet.
It's so good.
You're not tasting
It's so good.
the alcohol.
I mean, bourbon of the year, fig.
Come on.
I mean, like you can't go wrong, right?
You-
We're thankful. It's about gratitude here this week of Thanksgiving when we're filming
Absolutely.
it. So
Thank you
yeah.
for the bourbon because it's let me be more expansive.
Well, that's our secret hack of
But no, to answer your question, people, what's turned to, it used to be they requested specific people. And when I would say how I know that we've shifted and Trevor's still working through us, even though he's not here.
Yeah.
It used to be people, we're not a speakers bureau. You don't just call up and say, I want to talk to the speaker.
Right.
And I want you to come in and have the speaker. Yes, we still get those requests, but they're very little now. People just say, I've been watching you on socials. You guys are everywhere. You're crushing it. It feels like this is something we need. Can someone call me? And what I love about that story is that it used to always be about Trevor and maybe Josh or maybe Travis, and we still get those from a really rare basis. It's mostly now, hey, Limitless Minds, we know we need this, and can you help us? And so what I love about that is we think we do a pretty good job of deciding which coach is best for which audience, for which situation, for where they're at in their. So our job is to understand our client and meet them where they are. So it's not about paying us to have some.
It's almost a cost
speaker
greater
bureau.
than the coach. Then you're gonna like, oh, this.
So we pick the starting lineup based on who's got the hot hand or who makes the most sense for an individual trend.
Oh, it's like fantasy.
It's a bit like fantasy.
It's like
fantasy points.
You're gonna play some metrics and like, all right, this industry, and.
But what I could tell you is the beautiful thing is it's transcended sports and just our athlete and notoriety. It's really become. So there's some up and comers. There's a gal named Ellie Nelson. She's partly London part time now. She's back in Columbus, Ohio. Columbia.
Yeah.
Bourbon, good bourbon.
There you go.
But she's fantastic, and we had our opportunity to have her speak virtually a few times, and there's a hunger for more Ellie. But honestly, so I'd say she's an up and comer. And the next on the roster that I'd like to see get a lot more in-person run, because that's the premium.
Yeah,
we charge a premium, but that's where the coaches are used to getting the bigger bulk of their income,
Right.
at least in today's structure. So she's next, but maybe Kate Good. I mean, she was an Olympic figure skater, gold medalist. There's a lot.
So you have like professional athletes who are like,
who have bridged the gap.
right, I've learned a lot. I can impact others.
Yep.
I could go train them on my mindset.
David Freeman's platinum or like a key principal in Lifetime Fitness. He's an absolute beast. We had him come speak at one of our clients. I mean, that was the first time we'd seen him, brought him into an organization to speak. So we're pretty loyal to those that have been loyal to us. So it's not just that the OGs, it's that, you got
this next string of franchise quarterbacks.
It's the next layer coming in, and you don't want to retire your all-stars yet.
No,
this is Steph Curry and LeBron James, and apparently James Harden, who are still scoring 40 points a game.
Yeah.
And why change? But you got to prepare the next layer,
Right.
and build the next layer because they can do this till they retire. But I think it's there's a lot of fun, a lot of good people, really good energy, and we're doing some great things. And again, we're just trying to do the best we can each day. So
One last question. Is there an industry that you would love to work with that you're currently not?
We've worked in most industries. To be honest with you, it would be pretty helpful right now to be in government.
Okay.
I think there's some mindset adjustments that could be used
state, huh?
with not just our own state. I take that globally,
Globally,
and even domestically. I would love, not that there's a lot of channels. There's that. I would love to get this into kids' hands for free. I would love to help the armed services.
Mm-hmm.
I would love us to be able to give this stuff away for free to the people to the nursing communities. There are so many underserved communities who never get allocated this kind of budget or have this opportunity for whatever reason. I'm not judging the industries, but man, they need it.
Yeah.
And so, our goal would be to redistribute the flow to the people that are on the front lines. And by the way, entrepreneurs, founders,
front lines.
And honestly, that's
what keeps America going.
And listen, shout out to some of the ventures community we've served, but I think venture companies need to step up, and they need to fund it for their companies. It's for their founded portfolio, not just money. Give them something that can actually be of tangible value that could be a multiplier for them. And I have yet to see a venture firm stand behind their service arm and enable entrepreneurs and startups like us to truly thrive. It's beyond dollars. It's beyond financial management. It's beyond,
because that'll pay itself forward
and hires
down the road.
This is about a mindset without limits.
Yeah.
And I think put that in the arms of the people there, and those kinds of things are trickle down. Like, everyone would benefit from that. So lots of places I want to serve, but those are some.
Nice.
Government, entrepreneurs, armed services, and
a last
nurses.
cheers to that. So. Thanks again for being in studio.
Thank you.
I'm glad you guys. And this is probably, I'd say, a top 3 cocktail. Maybe the best old fashioned I've made.
I think I've heard you say that on every one of these shows.
Yeah. Well, it gets better. As we get better guests and better
Ooh,
engagement,
yes.
you helped us level up.
Level it up.
So when you
Level
level
each
up,
other.
I have to meet
Level up, level up,
who
level
our,
up.
I have to meet up who our guest is. So like I got to up my game. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
So on behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Services, Fuse Networks, and Warrior Injury Law, my name is Galen.
Joe.
Coming at you from the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington, with David from Limitless Minds enjoying this fig old fashioned. Thanks and watching this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.